Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. And here at the 4th annual barbecue, I think it is. Yeah, 2023 is the 4th annual. J.D. Perry and Travis Parks keep putting these things together. Melody Troutman, so many others, tons of sponsors that we'll try to list on here as well. But such a cool event, and sitting here with royalty of the shed hauling industry. Well, maybe -1, but just kidding. So I'll just go around the horn here. We'll do a round robin. Allow everybody to introduce herself. These are my favorite moments, guys, because these are the unscripted, just conversations. It's real life in the shed industry. Chandon, care to just introduce yourself and who you are and name of your company? You might want to move that mic a little bit.
I'm Chandon Beiler, live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I work for the old sale barn, Eastern Shore, Maryland, down in Denton.
Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. That's what we needed for Chandon whenever he come on. Travis, I know you can't hear that, but it's a bunch of cheering going on in the background. So, Sid, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Sid Loewen here with Loewen Transport and All-American Sheds out of Northern California.
Man, you flew all the way out here.
I drove.
You drove?
Yes, sir.
Brave soul.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I always mix business with pleasure if I can.
That's right. Man, I want to come out there and visit you sometime in California. That'd be awesome.
Come on out. We're a little different there north of Sacramento ways there. We're kind of like some other countries.
Okay. That's good to know. Good to know for sure. And then Trent.
Yeah, I'm Trent Robinson out of Joplin, Missouri. Haul for my company, Robinson Transport, and haul sheds for Holden Portable Buildings.
Holden, the one that I always see the H on the. If you've ever seen that H on the front door of a shed, that's a Holden.
You know, that actually started as a joke when they first started building buildings. The owner of the company, he always puts his name, his logo on everything he does.
Okay.
So his grandson, on one of the first sheds that they built, just cut these H's out, stuck them on the door as a joke because he knew he was going to be there that weekend. And he saw it and he liked it and said, I like it.
Yeah.
Sets it apart. You know it's a Holden building as soon as you see it. Said,
it worked.
Do it on every building from now on. So get stuck.
It worked. Whenever I'm in West Missouri area and I see that, I definitely know where it's at. So California, gosh, that's got to be a little different.
Well, I'd say it's a lot different. Everybody looks at me strange when we start talking about things like, pilot cars and all that, because anything over 8.5 feet, we basically have to pilot.
No way.
As soon as we get off a major road, we go to secondary road, it's a pilot. And if it's over a 12 wide, if it's a 12 wide or more, 2.
Really?
Basically. Yeah, so it's like we have lots of pilot bills over there.
That's a whole different world for sure.
Yeah.
Have you always been in California then?
Born and raised about 200 miles south of where we actually live now. We moved here in 06 where we're at now.
Okay.
But farmed and done everything else and got into the shed stuff back in 2016. So.
How'd you land in the shed industry? In California, that's probably even more rare. I don't know. Is there a lot of competition out there? I haven't got a chance to spend much time in California.
Very little, actually. Old Hick is about the only one in there majorly. I mean, there's a little bit of Ulrich and, Tough Sheds. Seems like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But we won't go there. And basically that's it as far as there's a few independent builders and whatnot. But basically it's Old Hick. I mean, they are there from the north end clean to the
down to the bottom.
South end, down to the bottom.
That's cool, man. And what's your experience been there like for sheds so far? I mean, do you sell any or do you focus on? Okay.
I just got a lot, my own personal lot, a year ago. Other than that, I've just been a driver, just done my own personal thing. All the drivers there own their own equipment.
Okay.
Like you're independent. Everybody's independent per se. You know how that is. So do lots of private stuff on the side or whatever, which that's where the money's really at. But just, been busy.
Yeah?
More busy than I want. I let go like 9 lots because it was too busy because I also farm and do other stuff. And hauling sheds is kind of my hobby.
Okay.
I just do that to fill in. I always say that hauling sheds to me is like ice cream to most people. Fills in all those gaps, you know.
I like it. That's good. I've seen your name certainly on the hauler group quite a bit. I recognized it immediately, but it's definitely a pleasure to get to know you, get to meet you, and I love the opportunity to swing by sometime whenever we get out there. And well, the cool thing about the shed industry is you can go just about anywhere and have a friend. That's one of my favorite things is you just know people from all over the country at some point, and they come together at events like this. Travis, you guys just going to keep doing this, man, more and more? I mean, it seems like it's growing. It's a cool event.
That's the plan for now. I mean, we don't plan on stopping, but you know how things happen.
We got to get out there and see like the cool Mack truck that they brought in. It was, I think it's Al Bontrager. I think it's his. Seeing stuff like that, the Tomater truck out front whenever you're welcoming you in.
Yeah.
That
was pretty cool.
They'll do some cool stuff. The competitions. I mean, nice little crawfish meal last night and some peel and eat, and gosh, I'll just do it good. So I had an education last night. I didn't know how to eat crawfish. I don't know if y'all have eaten them before.
It's hard for me to eat fish bait, you know. I mean, that's what I use to fish for bass. So I was like, I seen those things. I was like, shrimp look great. But I looked at those crawfish, and I was like, well, I know how to do this for fish bait, but I'm not sure how to eat these things.
My grandma's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana originally, so you'd think I would have eaten crawfish at some point, but never had until last night. That peel and eat shrimp was really good, but I like crawfish. It's just a lot of work to get to it, but
It was good.
It was really good, man. Appreciate you guys and your commitment to what you do for the industry.
It's everybody else. I get to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, I hear you,
Round
man.
everything up, and I feel like I just wander around today, not really do a lot.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and appreciate what you guys do. Chandon,
Yeah,
I've been trying to get you on here for a while, man.
you have.
Chandon, or as I like to call him, a.k.a. Brad Paisley. It's not too intimidated. And I ain't too often I get intimidated by a guy, okay? But he wants to come on here and steal the spotlight and look better than everybody. What's that all about?
No, I don't try that at all.
I'm just teasing you. So from Lancaster, obviously, Shed Capital, maybe of the world. I just got to go through Lancaster again, visit with some cool folks. What's your experience been like, man, hauling? Like, how long have you been hauling?
For a total of 5 years, 4 in Pennsylvania,
Okay. Where was that before?
Virginia.
Okay. You're from Virginia originally? or-
Originally from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yep.
I got you. Just move around.
Moved
over
around a
there.
little bit and was out of Pennsylvania for about 12 years and moved back.
So what's that's too broad of a question to say. What's your experience been like hauling sheds? I see you with Sam quite a bit. A lot of the opportunities I get to run into you, I might be visiting with Sam, and so that might be how we cross paths or whatever. But you, day in and day out, you actually haul for yourself. You haul for a company.
I haul for a company. Just in March, I started for a dealer that I was working for the last 2.5 years, and haul for them and help out with sales when I can.
What's your, if I ask this question, I think you'd have a good answer to it. What's your favorite thing about shed hauling so far? What's it done for your life over the last 5 years? That's a lot.
That's a lot. Every day's a learning experience. I usually tell guys the day you quit learning, you might as well hang it up because, there's always something new with every day.
Why events like this? Like, why come to events like this? Why come to the bash? Why go around the country to these different places and support these groups that put together these events?
It's a lot of fun to meet other guys that do the same thing and support. There's a lot of work that goes into these events. And if you can come support them and help out where you can, I think that's what we're all about. As a brotherhood, as shed haulers, that's huge.
Have you ever had a customer ask you about how to supply power to their shed? Do you sell electrical kits as an upsell for your sheds currently? Do you want an easy, no-hassle option to offer for your customers when they want to add electric to their sheds? Check out Eco Ethics Solar. Eco Ethics Solar is looking for shed manufacturers and shed dealers who want to be able to provide a solar electric option to their line of sheds. With Eco Ethics Solar, you can purchase the SunSaver, a solar product specifically designed with the shed owner in mind. Want to offer a larger product that can operate a full tiny home? At Eco Ethics Solar, they have the necessary product, training, and capacity to meet your customers' needs. Installation for the SunSaver is simple and takes just 45 minutes. You can even install it right there on your sales lot or at the manufacturing facility. Eco Ethics Solar even provides hands-on in-person training if necessary. Plus, they will provide you with video tutorials and handouts with specific installation instructions that keeps adding a solar-powered electrical system to your shed fast and simple. In many cases, the end user can even perform the installation once the shed is delivered to their home. If you are interested in purchasing a unit for display and then drop shipping your orders or even ordering multiple units to have available as you build, contact my friends at Eco Ethics Solar at 336-250-1284 or email sales@ecoethicsolar.com.
Shed haulers lead the way, I like to say a lot of times on, I always say they're driving the industry forward, pun intended, but their togetherness. Sometimes you get some bickering here and there with every group of people or, however you want to look at it, but the shed haulers do an amazing job coming together, the different events that they put on, just the togetherness. Do you think it speaks on behalf of our industry?
So with shed hauling, I was just having a conversation with somebody this morning watching the competitions. The cool thing is there's a lot of different ways to do the same thing. What works for one guy might not work for the other one. You can watch these competitions and learn something from them. You might go, well, I never thought about doing something that way. And you might try it for yourself and it might work, it might not work. We can give each other a hard time, but at the end of the day, we all do the same job. We all figured out how to do it the best for each other. But yet, if something was to happen, I think we all have each other's back.
Trent, you're from Joplin, so we're about an hour away. Maybe?
An hour and 50 minutes.
Hour and 50 minutes. So I'm just looking at the commitment from this table, just this table alone, hour and 50 minutes. Sid, you probably drove how many days?
Well, started from home, ended up in Louisiana, back up in Kentucky, over in Missouri, and now I'm here.
Man, I feel like me and you were on the same route.
He actually has the trailer that was raffled off at the Utah Bash.
Oh, okay.
With him.
Okay, I got you. And then, Chandon, you come down from Lancaster, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, how do you get a group of guys to commit to come from the East Coast, the West Coast, then someone right here in the Midwest to an event? Why is what you do important enough to show up? I think it speaks on behalf of the growing of the industry, the maturing of the industry. I think the fact that we live very faith forward in the shed industry, we're not afraid to celebrate God and all He's done for us. I think that just the nature of the industry is embracing to those moments. It's, to me, I guess it's just really cool to get to be around like-minded people. And you think the best podcast ever had never happens on one that I can get a microphone in front of. And I've said this 100 times over. The best podcast you'll ever hear is your in-person experience at an event like this where people are sitting around a table. And I wish I could get a microphone in front of them, but I can't. But there's so many good conversations that happen here. I think that happens with manufacturing at the Shed Expo and the different trade shows. We've kind of talked about trying to put together something for sales on our end with Shed University and want to connect with the shed haulers on that. Because the one thing we hear on the page is constantly is my salesman overpromised, said I could do something that I couldn't do. And I'm thinking to myself, how can we increase communication as a whole? Even the companies have their individual policies, but just as a whole, how can we increase communication so that it doesn't feel like we're working against each other? And those are the conversations that happen at moments like this.
for that question, that is a level of trust from the dealer that drivers in the past might have broken that trust, so the dealer may not trust the driver.
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely tons of reasons for the lack of communication or the miscommunication. And there's just got to be a way to heal that and bring it together so that, it doesn't feel like one group against each other. I don't think most people desire that. It's good banter, to wrestle and hag on your sales guys. And trust me, probably some of the sales guys deserve it. I probably fit in with the sales group more than any, so don't hate me. Y'all don't want me hauling sheds. I will probably mess up some equipment in a heartbeat. But I'll tell you what would be cool is going down and getting some video of that Mack truck on a delivery. That kind of stuff,
Yes.
That goes beyond knowing anything about shed hauling. I mean, that's just cool. So, Trent, rumor has it on the street that you've got a story that Travis was mentioning to me about shed hauling.
Hello from the Shed Geek. Let's take a walk through My Shed 3D. With My Shed 3D, your company can simply add a 3D builder button to its website. Once the customer clicks onto the 3D builder button, they will enter some basic information to get started. Remember, this information is captured in your Leads tab, whether or not the customer designs a building. This is very valuable information that turns a cold call into a warm lead. Next, they begin the design of their shed by selecting a primary use, a style, and a size that best fits their need. My Shed 3D has multiple styles that are available and consistent with traditional and barn styles within the shed industry. However, if you offer a customized or non-traditional style, My Shed Solutions can build that design for future use. We can also save on some design features that make it easy to adjust without a major rebuild or added fees for design changes. For instance, want to offer a steeper roof pitch? Just navigate to the Settings tab. Then click the Building Models. Click Edit Building and just enter the new roof center height, and the design changes will reflect on this style option. This will save you thousands versus traditional design changes that need to build a whole new style to match your design. From here, simply choose the style, siding, and color. Then choose a trim and roofing style and color. Next, let's add a door. That was goofy. Next, let's add a door. It is required to add a door to move forward with the design, as at least one ingress-egress option is necessary. Then add some design changes for personalization. Maybe some windows, or a porch, or some interior shelving. Next, just click Save Design and the customer will receive an automated text with all the features of the design to the email address entered at the beginning. From here, they can edit the design, view the details of the design, pay now to order the shed, or click Rent to Own to complete the necessary steps to purchase a shed they designed with My Shed 3D. The design enters the admin panel as a quote, and this is where the manufacturer can update the progress of the design once a deposit is taken. My Shed, from design to delivery, we have you covered.
And one of my favorite things to read in the Shed Builder, or the Shed Builder magazine, is the stories by Jason Kaufman. I bet you guys have been in some of those precarious situations yourself. So I wanted to ask, what's the chances of you telling me this story or some of your favorite stories, both good and bad, that you've experienced? How long have you been hauling?
So I started hauling in the fall or latter part of the year, 2011.
Okay.
Started hauling out directly for Holden Buildings, and then in 2016 went contract doing starting my own business.
Okay.
Yeah, so been in it a little while. Seen a lot of things change and equipment change and upgrade, and a lot of new stuff out there, and watching other haulers and events like this and the Shed Haulers page. Learned a lot. It's helped me grow a lot over the years of doing it, for sure.
What's been the biggest change equipment-wise that's helped you as a hauler?
Going from a Mule 4 to currently running a Mule 6 and then running a remote. There's a lot of times I work alone, so having the ability of that remote makes a vast difference. I mean, it changed the way I did everything. It saves a lot of time. And then, I ran just a 28-foot trailer for a number of years, and then we went to 34, extends out to 44, having that additional length. I do a lot in northwest Arkansas, and that area's grown, and a lot of those subdivisions and stuff, especially the new ones, are really, really tight. And so going to a longer trailer, we decided to go with steering axles, and it was a game changer. Being able to get around in some of those places that we weren't able to, or not having to mule a building as far. So there's just a lot of things like that have changed that have made the job simpler. It adds cost to it, but it makes the job easier and gets it done.
Yeah. So what precarious or interesting situations have you found yourself in hauling sheds?
Well, the one Travis was referring to, I got a phone call a few years ago from Melody Troutman, and she had a shed she needed picked up over near Branson. And it was for another company, but they had gone out to pick it up and had some hostilities with the customer a couple times. But she finally got a court order to pick the building up, and they sent a driver out there.
Wasn't the other building one of y'all's buildings?
Yeah, I'll get there. She finally got the court order to go pick it up. I sent a driver after it. Well, he got there, and it was a 14 by 40, I think it was, building. The only way to get that building out, the customer had also bought another building from us, and that building was blocking the only access in and out. Well, they had moved all their stuff out of the 14 wide into our building, and the other driver didn't want to move our building to get theirs out. So Melody contacted me, and she's like, can you come move your building out of the way and then repo this 1440 and get it out? It's like, yeah, I'm sure we can do something like that. So I contacted the company to get our information and stuff off of it. And in the process of doing that, found out that building was also coming up for repo that month. So now I got two buildings to pick up at the same location. So Melody had the court order, but it was getting ready. It had to be done by a certain amount of time. I don't remember what the deal was, but it was Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend.
One of them.
I think it was Memorial Day weekend. Anyway, I didn't have any help, and so I contacted Travis, which he's only about an hour away from me, and was telling him about the situation. We got two buildings to pick up. I got to do them both at the same time. She doesn't know the second one's going to be picked up. She has no idea yet. Should, but there wasn't an order on it. So anyway, Travis was like, oh, I'm in. Let's do it. So he was like, well, do you want me to bring my rig as well? And I'm like, I don't think so, because if we show up with two rigs, she's going to know immediately that we're picking up both buildings, and then the fight's going to be on.
Have you ever had a customer ask you about how to supply power to their shed? Do you sell electrical kits as an upsell for your sheds currently? Do you want an easy, no-hassle option to offer for your customers when they want to add electric to their sheds? Check out Eco Ethics Solar. Eco Ethics Solar is looking for shed manufacturers and shed dealers who want to be able to provide a solar electric option to their line of sheds. With Eco Ethics Solar, you can purchase the Sun Saver, a solar product specifically designed with the shed owner in mind. Want to offer a larger product that can operate a full tiny home? At Eco Ethics Solar, they have the necessary product, training, and capacity to meet your customers' needs. Installation for the Sun Saver is simple and takes just 45 minutes. You can even install it right there on your sales lot or at the manufacturing facility. Eco Ethics Solar even provides hands-on in-person training if necessary. Plus, they will provide you with video tutorials and handouts with specific installation instructions that keeps adding a solar-powered electrical system to your shed fast and simple. In many cases, the end user can even perform the installation once the shed is delivered to their home. If you are interested in purchasing a unit for display and then drop shipping your orders, or even ordering multiple units to have available as you build, contact my friends at Eco Ethics Solar at 336-250-1284 or email sales@ecoethicsolar.com.
So ended up, we jumped in mine. Was going to have an escort truck. So Travis jumped in my other truck, and we headed down there. Melody met us over there. So everything was cordial. I told her that, when we get there, we're going to move this building and set it off to the side. So anything valuable or it's going to break or anything like that, take it out of the building. She had some dogs in there to take them out, get them over to the side. So we pulled that building out and moved it into a spot where we could easily get to it later.
We had tried to take it to the gas station down the road, hadn't we? And she wouldn't let us leave the property with it or something?
No, but that's where we met, was at the gas station.
All right.
What I told her is that she was going to, no problem at all, get the 1440 out. But she started getting a little suspicious and was kind of acting funky. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, we're going to be back. I'll leave my mule and all that stuff here so you know we're going to be back. And that calmed her right down. So we left the mule. We got the 1440 loaded. Went ahead and put my mule on the dolly wheels back on that building. I was like, all right, I'll just leave it right here. You know we're coming back. So that pacified her. So we took the 1440. We were getting it strapped down on the building, and it's on a holiday weekend. So no permits. And I'm putting my last strap on the building, and Travis was like, Highway Patrol just pulled up behind us. Oh, great. Trooper just thought we were broke down. It wasn't DOT, it was just a trooper, and he thought we were broke down or something. He's like, well, you guys good? Yes, sir, we're good. We're fixing to get on the road here. And he was like, all right, well, I'll just sit down here at the corner and watch traffic for you until you get on the road. Awesome, man, appreciate it. So he goes down to the corner and kicks his lights on.
Chandon's like,
Oh, we were both sweating bullets at that point. But he went down, kicked his lights on, and warned traffic for us till we got on the road. So we took it and dropped it, came back, and come back, and you can tell the customer's getting this suspicious feeling again. So we pulled up, and she still had her car parked out on the road. And so we pulled up and used my truck to block the driveway, the only way in there. So as soon as we started equipment up, her and her son went out there and just stood out there kind of blocking the access to the road. I'm like, all right. So that got Melody involved, and I was like, hey, Melody, go over there and have her show you exactly where she wants this building set, because since we moved the other one out, she wanted it moved back in that other spot. So Travis was already ready and he was over there just standing there by my truck waiting, and Melody got her over there, and boy, Melody was talking it up, and her little leg, she was stepping it off to line everything up. Got her over there quite a ways away, and out we went with it. And we had it off the property and starting on the trailer before she ever even realized what was taking place. And, of course, then she was not too happy, but it was a little late by that point.
I would imagine not. You find yourself in some of the most unique situations. And I think you have to set the expectation with the customer, too. I think it's really good. People's talked about, you see these shows over like repo shows, on like cars and things like that. And my fear is that it sets an expectation for a customer to act that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, they think it's normal behavior to show up and they're not paying for their shed, and you're there to pick up the shed that they're renting. And it sets an expectation that they should act that way. I know we're not responsible for someone else's behavior. I understand that, but I think it's important. I see sort of the shed haulers as that last and final touch of customer service that really matters. Have you guys, Sid, you had good experiences with customers that are memorable?
Very much so. You have those. That no matter what you do. I've had a gun to my head before on a repo.
Yeah.
And I told him, you can keep the shed, man.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come here and get it anyway.
Yeah.
But most of them, what I've learned to do, like I said, you learn this. I think Shannon was saying that. When I deliver a rent-to-own shed, without making the customer feel like, I know you're going to renege on this, I'm going to be back for this, is you tell them, you kind of just talk them through the deal of nicely. You just treat them just like they're the one that paid cash for that shed. You get that thing in place there, and you just tell them, now you got your contract right. Now you see when it's going to start. I've delivered it now. They're going to be sending you some stuff in the mail. You're going to be getting your deal. You're going to be making your payment. And if you get behind on that, man, they're going to send me a pickup notice because they're renting this to you. It's really not yours. They own it. You're renting it. And you just kind of get that in their mind, which they don't have that. I am a salesperson also. I have a lot I sell. But for whatever reason, even me as a seller, I don't tell them that stuff because, I don't know, it's easier to sell a shed when you don't tell them too much stuff, it seems like. So I'm kind of a bad salesperson myself, and I deliver it. So, but, it's kind of, you just set that there, and most of the time, it's amazing. Like one of the things that always happens, which is, I don't know how it is on your guys' things, but when you get a pickup notice, it says, do not contact customer, do not text, do not call. This is one of Old Hickory's things. You don't do that, right? And I tell them all the time that I can't do that because I want to be treated, I want to treat them the way I want to be treated. And even if I'm in the wrong, I'm not paying my bill, just tell me. And I've had to go back and tell them, look at my success rate. They say, don't call them, don't text them, don't whatever. I say, look at my success rate, 100%. I either go get the shed, I go get the money, or I get a reasonable thing with them that they make a deal with the shed company and eventually they pay up. I am 100%. I've never missed one yet. But it's because I treat them like they need to be treated. I've had bad ones but in the end, I wasn't going to leave it there because I didn't want to lose my 100% success rate.
What's your favorite customer service experience? Your favorite customer experience
on a delivery?
Yeah,
my favorite was a little old lady delivered it to, and she knew right where she wanted this shit. Put it in place here, got it all set up. She was so excited, so happy about that thing. She called me about 2 weeks later, said, Sid, I don't want it there. Can you move it somewhere else? And, my driver mind kicks in and says, okay, it's going to be about this much. And then I get over there, tell her, if I'm in the area, I'll go and do that for you. And when I got there to move the shed over, one of those dreadful driver things, she only wanted to move 3 feet. It didn't quite work with her house, and I'd even talked to her about that when we said it. I go, this doesn't quite line up. And she goes, no, I like it like that. And then when I got back there to move it, I decided, what, I'm not going to charge her anything. This lady could be my grandma, And so I get there and I move this shed and whatnot. This little old lady brings me out food. She gives me money. I leave this thing and I'm like, I could have been a pain. I could have been a whatever. I could have been my normal self and said, this is going to cost you, $450 to move this in your yard because that's just what it's going to cost you. But I decided not to, and it actually worked out way for the better because then her family heard that from her. I think I sold 3 or 4 more sheds on that deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All because I swallowed my pride, didn't do my normal thing, and went a different direction, and it actually worked.
Customer service is not absent in the shed hauling side of the industry. I think a lot of haulers, one thing I appreciate about the haulers is they're the grit of the industry, the get it done, the don't ask questions, just make it happen, stay to myself kind of thing. But there's a very important customer service role that is played. You're the last person to touch the building, to have a conversation with the customer until it becomes catching up with payments or something like that, but generally speaking, how you leave the customer is probably going to be more important than even the salesperson's last experience with them, because you're a representative of the company, not just yourself.
Absolutely.
You represent the company that built the building, the salesperson, as well as yourself.
Yeah.
So the delivery driver has the ability to a lot of times pacify a customer that may be unhappy with their sales guy, or they were unhappy with how long it took to get the building or whatever. On the other hand, a driver having a bad day can sour somebody on both of the others. So there's a unique place there that
For sure.
the ability that drivers have at that time. And then also, as you were saying a while ago about, talking to them about repos, there are times inevitably customers want to talk. And there's a lot of times you can steer a conversation. And if it's one that I'm 99% sure is going to be coming back up for repo, I'll steer a conversation that direction and, let them know, that's part of my job, that if somebody gets behind on it, we'll do our best to work with them, but eventually we have to pick it up. And that gets that in their mind that, that is a very real possibility. And most of the time that when I contact them later, it smooths things out. I would say it's a very low percentage of repos that we have that are confrontational.
No, I agree. What do you guys experience whenever somebody shows up with the mule? Is everybody always surprised by the actual equipment? Have you had a story on that, Chandon? Or I bet you got a lot that you just don't share. We'll get those off air, guys. Sorry, you have to be here at the event to experience those.
I would say majority of customers are shocked. I mean, hardly a day goes by and I don't have somebody go, wow, I never seen that before. They're just impressed. And when you can take a shed in somebody's backyard and with that versus taking the whole truck and trailer, they're like, oh, I thought you were going to take the whole truck and trailer in there. You're like, nope, I'll just put this right back there. It amazes them. And I think that's the cool thing about the technology we have now with the mules, the remotes, what we're capable of doing with the minimal damage to a customer's property. And that goes along with the respect that a customer wants. Everybody wants respect, everybody's entitled to it. Some days that's easier than others, but we all have our bad days, and if you can grit that for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes to set a building, that can go a long way later just with that customer. Even the biggest pain in the neck customer where it might take an extra 30 minutes to set it because they can't make up their mind or they're just that picky. I mean, I've had one just in the last month. He wanted me to come in the neighbor's driveway because he didn't want me on his driveway. He had string lines. So up there we set, I know a lot of guys are going to hate me for this, we set majority on gravel pads. Like 98, 99% of my buildings are set on pads. 9 times out of 10. At least the doors look right when I leave. This dude had string lines making a square in his pad exactly where he wanted. I put the building there. He still measured it, walked around it 6 times, and I'm just standing there like, can I go now? Can I go now? But I had to grit that and let him take his time to figure out what he wanted to make it right. And sure, I spent an extra 20, 30 minutes there just dealing with him, just this, that, the little plastic underneath the shingles was sticking out. I had to crawl up there, pull that off for him. And later that day, he texted the sales lot and said, sales was above average, driver was above. And if you can make somebody like that happy, that goes a long way.
It's an extension of the sale, ultimately, no matter what. Everything that you do is an extension of the sale. We definitely want to get with the haulers on the sales side of things and connect the hauler's voice to the sales people's voice. If we can get the sales people to grow the momentum. It's hard to get a group of sellers together. Sam's mentioned this before. Sellers are always worried about the competition. You guys do a pretty good job of putting that down for a day to say we can better ourselves by coming together as a group. So plus you have cool things like bells and whistles and trucks and competitions and show and shines and parades that make it a whole lot of fun. So this sales event that we're trying to put together is gonna have to try and offer some value that makes people want to show up and want to send their people. So we're doing our due diligence, folks, to do that. The essence of the shed hauler for me is this. I know you guys hear a lot of background noise while we're in this. What you don't see is this place is just about plumb fill up, and they have to start getting more tables out to house more people, give them more chairs for lunch. And probably the thing I take away the most is they don't sit back and wait for somebody to get the table and get the chairs. Every single one of those guys went over there and started working. Every single one of them started grabbing chairs. I think if you could capture what a shed hauler is in a moment, that's as a good as example. They're not afraid to work. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They jump in there and do the job. They don't complain, most of them. and they just have a get-it-done kind of mentality. So I've had the pleasure of having a unique situation in this industry to go around and interview folks like yourself, sellers, manufacturers, suppliers, and try to bring what it is you do to a microphone. And I certainly appreciate so much y'all sitting down with me today. I don't know about you guys, but I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And everybody else is eating, so I'm tired of talking. You guys don't care. I'm going to say a prayer real quick that just kind of says thank you to you guys in the industry, and we'll go get us some grub. That sound all right?
Sounds good.
All right. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with friends and just build relationships. Lord, we'd ask that you would bless each and every family here, each company represented here today, those that put the event together, those that attend the event, that they would grow and learn, and that we would all be reminded of the sovereign God that you are, and that you are in control of each and everything that we do, and that you would continue to put a protection around just the industry. Safety-wise, we know these shed haulers have a dangerous job. I ask that you would keep them safe each and every day, and they could come home to their families. God, we ask you to be with the Suarez family today. That's especially on my heart. Brandon and his wife, we ask that you be with him and just give him a special touch for him and his family, that you would bless them in ways that only you can, and give them peace. God, we thank you for everything that you do. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.